Welcome back to the channel. I survived the 80s. This is a series of videos that I'm creating on how I built my own home arcade game machine. This video is about the decals that I decided to put onto the arcade machine. I didn't want it to be just plain wood or plain black. I wanted to make it jazzy. I wanted to give it some kind of retro effect. Now, I know these aren't 80s decals and this is an 80s channel, but it's one of my all-time favourite games, so I decided to go with a Street Fighter 2 decal. Anyway, in this video I'm going to show you how I applied them. If you've not watched the previous video on how I built it, go and watch that one. And in the next videos I'm going to go through how I wired in the control center and then finally show you what the finished product looks like and am I actually happy with it? Does it even work? I built this on a shoestring. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the decals. At least it might look pretty. So as I said, I'm going to buy some Street Fighter 2 ones. It is my favourite game from the 90s. So I decided to go for Street Fighter 2 Ryu and Ken. Now I have varnished the sprayed wood to give it something to adhere to, and I have sanded it down with an orbital sander as well to try and make it as flat as possible. It's not going to be perfect, it's not a flat surface, but hey, arcade machines were never perfect either. So I started to line it up at the edge. These decals are bigger than what I needed, so there's going to be a bit of overhang, but using a dry cloth I was able to very slowly adhere it to the surface itself. There's going to be a few little bumps in there. I may be able to get them out with putting a little piercing of a hole and pushing the air out, but I'm not that fussy, to be honest. I want it to look homemade. I want it to look like I've built it, which I have. So then I get my stencil cutters out and very slowly, being careful not to cut myself, I cut around the edge of the wooden frame. It's a good template to use, and I gave it a little bit of an extra overhang in places because I am going to be putting some plastic T-coving on. So I want the decal to be overlapping a little bit so that the T-coving will then hold that in place and will stop it from lifting on the edges. On the very edges I also decided to use a little bit of spray adhesive as well, just to give it an extra firm stick where it's most likely going to be lifting. When you get humidity or heat, these vinyl wraps can slowly peel off, so I decided I was going to lift it. I was going to spray it just to make it a little bit more sticky. So then I went and did exactly the same on the opposite side, having learned a few things from the first side. Learning is always a good thing. And then again cut around it with my stencil cutters as close as I could, but with a little bit of an overhang as well. Okay, so I then got my T-coving, which fits into the groove that I cut with my router, and I tapped that into place. I also added a little couple of tacks as well. Then it was a case of getting a piece of Perspex and cutting that to side. This is going to be for the marquee at the front. Using my jigsaw, cut out a marquee out of clear Perspex and then stuck the marquee sticker onto the top of it. And that is about it for this video. It's only a very short video sticking on the decals. There's so many to choose from and the prices are not that bad, about £30 for a two sides, a marquee and a control board vinyl. I thought they were quite reasonably priced. I've always got the option of peeling them off in the future and changing them to a different one if I want, but I quite like the Street Fighter one. It looks quite good, and when you see the finished product, hopefully you'll agree with me as well. Okay, so in the next video I will be going through how I wired in that control panel with all the buttons. There's a lot of wiring that comes with them. and I go through it in quite an easy to follow way, because if you do struggle, the instructions are not always brilliant. Hopefully this video will help you learn how to wire it in correctly and avoid some of the pitfalls that I fell into. No pun intended. Anyway, go and watch that next video. I'll link to it above, and I will see you there.